Our next speaker is a development officer within the Violence Reduction Unit here in Scotland. He's previously worked on VRU projects, mentoring people with convictions, seeking to recreate their lives and supporting change at the same time. He's a passionate advocate for change and awareness in how we address the hidden cost of untreated trauma and adverse childhood experiences within our society. He also has both personal and professional experience of navigating the care and criminal justice system. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome James Docherty.
Wow. I just want to acknowledge that thanks for showing up for our children. When I started out on this journey, I didn't think it would be as big. I just thought, no, what? Somebody needs to talk about trauma. Somebody needs to talk about adverse childhood experiences. And to get to a place where I'm standing in here terrified. No. I've boxed when I was a wee boy. And see the feeling before you go into a ring, it's the exact same as this. Except this is a bigger responsibility because it's not just me getting a doing. There's hundreds of Waynes out there, thousands of them getting a doing through no fault of their own, and we're under a blinding obligation to make it better for them. Now, ACEs is massive in Scotland. It's like you can't turn a herd once it's moving, so we aren't going anywhere. We're absolutely not going anywhere. You either join the herd or we'll trample every tap of you. Because we're going to keep on going until we get the results. Now, I speak a lot about my own personal experience because I know what it's like to recover from trauma. I know how hard it is. People ask me, how do you prepare for something like this? I've been preparing all my life to do something like this. I've been through absolute hell. And I've watched people not make it because nobody understood trauma and how to address it or how to buffer it or contain it. 13 years ago, I landed in a hospital and I was at a place in my life where I thought, if this doesn't go right, I'm ending my life. I can't go on like this any longer. And the only chink of hope I had in my heart was I had a wee lassie who's now 15-year-old. That's her up there on the right. I didn't know I had trauma. I didn't know I had PTSD. I had no idea. I landed in a hospital that treats drug addiction because I was addicted to painkillers. But I didn't know that my painkiller addiction was an attempt at a solution because I had an overactive stress response and that was in that much discomfort and my sense of self was that fractured that the only thing that gave me ease and comfort and made me feel all right within myself was a drug. But sadly, it stopped working, and I had got to a place in my life where I thought, I can't bring this wee lassie up like this. If I bring her up like this, I'll damage her. Now, I don't know where I get that thought from, because I must intuitively know that I carried stuff that I could pass on if I didn't get my act together. And when I was in there, the therapist says to me, I need to get somebody else in to see you, James. There's stuff that I think you've got that you need to see somebody that specialises in, and it was a trauma therapist. And when I sat down and went through a process, a trauma therapy with this woman, it revolutionised how I viewed myself. For the first time in my life, I started to recognise and understand what people meant when they used the statement, hurt people, James. That I didn't harm people for a place of wickedness. I harmed people for a place of woundedness. And that's a message of hope, because human beings aren't inherently wicked. We're always asking people to be more compassionate. We need more compassion. And I don't think we need more. I think we're already compassion. The fact you're in this room is compassion. We wouldn't be able to survive as a species if it wasn't for compassion. That's the reason we're in the room, because compassion's action. It brings human beings together with a purpose to do something about some of the adversity that we're seeing in our culture. What's it's what's in the road of that compassion we need to get rid of, which sometimes is a fear of what other people think is. Fear drove my whole life. See, when you've got an overactive stress response, you get up in the morning, you go to school, and you're not going to school with the idea of, I'm going to push my teacher's buttons today. That isn't in your mind. This is the best way I can explain it. It's like when you've got an overactive stress response, you're being driven. It's like getting up in the morning and jumping in a limo, and the driver's fear. And the driver says to you, I'm going to be driving you about today, and you're not going to have much to do with it. And everybody's going to tell you you're making bad choices. That's what's happening with your children in school. And because I had an overactive stress response and nobody knew that's what it was, then I would get excluded from school. But I had more reasons to stay in school than I did to get excluded. Because you were excluding me back to what Nadine Burke Harris describes as the bear in the woods. So I had every reason to stay in school. My overactive stress response was natural to the environment and the conditions I was living under. Now, one of the things I need to always emphasise is this isn't about blame, shame, disgrace, or judging parents. Because my parents tried their best with what they knew at the time. My ma's got her own trauma. And my dad's probably got his own conditioning and the way he was brought up. They brought me up with the tools that they had. And that's why I'm big on awareness. Because if you're not aware of something, you can't change it. So when I left that place that I went and got therapy in, I had a clear-cut course of action that would help me maintain health and well-being. I'll not bore you with the detail, but I hope the day that when people leave here, they've got a clear-cut course of action about where they can contribute, because there's not a person in this room that can't contribute. That's the truth. That's within your power. We can create the environments and provide the relationships that return people to themselves. Now, I've worked in various different projects where we talk about, we're trying to work with these young people to make them better versions of themselves. And I'm like, why don't we just return them to themselves and accept them for who they are and stop trying to mould them into what we expect them to be? And we can just love them where they are. Then the change will take care of itself. Or is the word love too radical to use in criminal justice? Because it's all right to love our own, but this is a wee thing. So when I get in the taxi this morning to drop my 4-year-old off, that's my 4-year-old at the bottom. She's swimming underwater. She's actually under the water. It's great, isn't it? I'm getting the taxi back and I'm in a discussion with the taxi driver, and while I'm in a discussion with the taxi driver, I get sent a message on Twitter, and I want to read it out because this is about people and this is about real life. Now, I had posted something last night and this lassie messaged me this and I asked her permission if I could read it out today. I hope you don't mind this message. It's just to say your recent tweet was perfect in the most devastating way for me. I should be on my way to Glasgow just now, but my darling brother took his own life on Sunday afternoon. You could have been speaking for him, because he could only see the darkness in the world. Gemma, I'm speaking for Andrew. That's why I do this. She goes on to say, I'm struggling to see the rainbow just now, but I know that being part of this amazing movement and hearing the words from inspirational people like yourself will help me so much in the coming months. Thanks for letting me share this today, Gemma. I wanted to keep your brother's memory alive. We love you. So, I come out that place and I'm on a mission, because I'm like, people need to understand trauma. So I start studying trauma, everything I can get, all the information. I don't just skim the surface, I do the deep dive thing. That's who I'm up. I've always been a deep boy. And I was 3 years away from trauma therapy, and society didn't want me because I had previous convictions, because the adaptations that allowed me to survive the environment I lived in at the time didn't meet social expectations of behaviour. So society was saying, we don't want you. And I had to explain my story all the time, there and there. And I got to a place where I thought, I don't know if I can continue to do this. So I decided to go and work in the construction industry, because the construction industry is quite forgiving. We could learn a lot for the construction industry. So I became a volunteer with the Violence Reduction Unit, and I just rocked up. I rocked up and I was like, how can I use my experience to benefit other people? And I sat down in front of a police officer. Long story short, I made a phone call, somebody gave me the number. I'm in a homeless unit at the time because I've changed the environment and moved away from my area, and I know I need to get home because I know I need to get a new environment to bring my wage up in if I want to create the lasting change that they need and create enough safety for myself, because walking about my housing scheme was like a rabbit when it comes out a hole. Its ears go up because it feels hunted. I was still in that stress response a lot of the time because of the community violence. And I sat down with this cop. Bearing in mind, the only time I ever sat down in front of a police officer up to that point was to say no comment. It wasn't me. I don't know what you're talking about. Tell my mum here I need a change of clothes. And this police officer says to me, James, we've been locking young people up for years. We've got the best detection rate in the world. We catch them, we lock them up, and they come out and do the same thing there and there again. That's Einstein's definition of insanity. Now, if you're a service that keeps doing the same thing there and there and there and there again, and getting the same result, then you need to be asking yourself, who's the sane one in this? So I was like, I get you, because I've done the repeating the same mistakes, expecting a different result. And one of the most profound things he says to me was, we're sick of locking them up, James, and we're sick of watching them killing each other on our streets. We care about our young people, and we're looking to boys like you to help us make a difference in their life. That's inclusion. I felt excluded all my life. That's a symptom of trauma. You feel excluded. Everybody knows what life's about and you don't, and you're too scared to ask in case they make fun of you. And you're just stuck in your own head all the time. So I said, right, I'm in. And I'm still here. I'm still here. I've been part of the violence reduction agenda for a long time. I wholeheartedly believe in the work. I've seen families reassemble, but I also knew it was a long game. And I also took guidance for the people who were walking the path before me, people like John, who was on before you, Karen. So they became like my surrogate mum and dad. They didn't even know this. I was just like, that's attachment, but attachment, you will take the lead for the people you attach to. That's what attachment's about. You will orientate by the people who you know care about you. And for the first time in my life, I knew they cared about me. So I took the lead off them. In my only deportment, when I showed up to the gang call-ins to speak to young people who were involved in violence, this was my attitude. If I can make an appeal to these young people and show them the futility and the fatality in gang lifestyle, using my experience, and one young person goes home that night and doesn't take the kitchen knife out the drawer, or he stops his pal for taking the kitchen knife out the drawer and going out the house to gang fight, then it would have been worth it. Now, I was going out to lay my heart on the line. I wear my heart on my sleeve. And I think Jesus Christ says, man's greatest gift was to lay down his life for another. When you're growing up in a housing scheme, you think it's about taking a bullet or taking a knife for your pal. But I think it's this. I think it's saying, this is who I'm the good and the bad. This is where I've been, and this is where I'm now. And if that's possible for me, it can be possible for you too. Now, I'm not religious, but I still love Jesus. Because he's compassion. If you want to know about compassion, look at what he says on the cross. Sounds as if I'm giving a sermon, doesn't it? I'm going to tell you something about young people. They would rather see a sermon than hear one. They're watching your feet. Traumatised kids watch your feet. They're not watching your lips. They're watching your actions. They can come in and feel a room before anybody talks in it, because they need to survive. And when we looked at the gang violence in Glasgow, what I discovered was a backstory of adverse childhood experiences. I was like, these kids are traumatised. This is about the transmission of pain. These kids are just transmitting their trauma. And what happens with adverse childhood experiences is, see, when I joined a gang, there was no initiation to join the gang. I didn't need to do stuff like you need to do over at Homeboy in LA. If you look at some of their stuff, they've got some things you need to do to get into the gang. It's almost as if there's an unconscious checklist of adverse childhood experiences, and you've got it, and you're like, you're a 9, and an 8, and a 7. Is there domestic violence in the house? Aye, and a 3. Don't know about you. You're a bit too emotionally healthy to be in your gang. You might tell the police or tell our man Daz what they're up to. So it was almost as if they were orientating by their own level of adversity. And what they were doing was going and fighting other kids who were orientating by the exact same level of adversity. So when Greg Boyle, who runs Homeboy Industries, says kids don't join gangs, they're always escaping something, I knew exactly what he meant. And if you want to listen to somebody who understands why people move into a gang, funnily enough, he recently done a documentary on adverse childhood experiences. Who would have thought that if you treat Waynes right, by and large they turn out all right. They don't want to burn their life to the ground with drugs, or they don't want to put themselves at risk of violence. Because if you're emotionally healthy and you've got enough self-love and you've got a stress response that allows you to navigate danger in a healthy, appropriate way, the last thing you're going to do is put yourself in a position where you could get hurt. So it revolutionised even the way I look at addiction. When you look at people in addictions, the biggest predetermination for a young person ending up in addiction is adverse childhood experiences. So when you look at educators in the social services in our culture, you can prevent that. You can prevent kids ending up in addiction. You can prevent kids ending up in prison. You can prevent kids participating in risk-taking behaviour that could ultimately make them die before their time. How good is that? That's good, isn't it? So, I wasn't going to write anything down, but I wrote that thing down about that lassie that sent that message, because I think it was important. But I also wrote this down, and I want to finish with this. I want to talk about the power of honest self-disclosure. Never feel limited because of your experience. Your experience is an asset. That's why I wrote that. Aces to assets. Never hide your experience out of fear or shame. It's yours, own it, own the room. It's your experience. Nobody can take it away from you. And it might be the only thing that you can use to connect to another human being. Because see, when I was in that taxi and I got that message, the taxi driver asked me where I was going. And I told him I was coming here. And I had Nadine Burke Harris's book because I didn't get her to sign it yesterday. And I'm sitting there telling him the whole Aces gig, and he's like, everybody, that's true. And then he starts recounting sexual abuse. He starts telling me about his own sexual abuse in his history. He says, you're the only second person I've ever told this in my life. That's the power of honest self-disclosure. It allows people to feel no longer alone, that they're not carrying this stuff on their own. So I've not got the book, Nadine, I gave it to him. I said, you need to read that book, buddy. And this is what I wrote because Nelson Mandela used it in his inauguration speech, and it was written by a woman called Marianne Williamson. And I've paraphrased some of it. When we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. Don't forget that. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others, the taxi driver. So keep shining the light, troops. People are trying to find their way out of the darkness, and it's people like you in this room. The effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is. So it's all about relationships. And I feel finally that Scotland is starting to remember that we belong to each other. Thanks.